Hey guys, this is Rob at the Legacy Den here. Welcome to episode 3. Our topic for this week is trading in Japan. So, if some of you have picked up in my previous video, I mentioned that trading is usually banned in card stores here. This is one rule that's pretty much universal across all the stores in Japan, at least in Osaka, from what I've noticed. There's a couple reasons why this rule exists. The first one I think is pretty easy to understand. The stores don't want you to trade for cards you need. They want you to buy your cards from them, or they want you to sell your cards to them and then use that money to buy cards. Most of the time, these stores don't have an online shop. So this means that they do need to make their money by selling their cards in store to customers that come. Granted, at least in Osaka, in Denden Town, it's a high traffic area, so if you're a decent store, it's not too much of an issue to get customers into stores. Especially on weekends, there's more of an issue of navigating your way around the store because there's usually too many people inside too small of an area. But nevertheless, card stores still aren't an easy business and they do want to avoid things that cut into their profit. The other main reason why stores ban trading is to stop people from getting trade sharked. The way responsibility works in Japan is a little different from the US. So if a trade sharking occurred at a store, then the store might actually be at fault because they let it happen inside their store. So, for example, if a kid gets sharked and then comes back with his mom and complains that he got ripped off, the store might actually have to take responsibility for it because it was actually their customer that let that happen. It actually happened inside their building. There's other examples of this different sense of responsibility between Japan and America. One other example would be if there's a company and one of the workers at the company did something very, very awful, a huge crime, they got arrested. Generally, the boss of that person will resign because he's taking responsibility for it. Even though he didn't directly do anything wrong, it was his employee that did something wrong. So the boss will pretty much quit out of shame. In a less direct example, if you get into an accident on your way to work, your work is responsible for your insurance because you wouldn't have been on the road if it weren't for going to work. That's the reason why you were even outside, is because you're going to work. So the work is considered responsible for that accident happening. So these are all just some small examples that show how different responsibility is treated in this country. And that's why sharking and things like that are just seen as much worse, because the store can actually be liable in some senses. Banning trading just kind of acts as a preventative measure against that sort of activity. And I will be honest, when they ban trading, it's not like there's lots of trading going on behind the scenes. Really, there is almost no trading. What they are doing does work. People don't really bring trade binders. If you want something, you generally have to go to a store and just pay cash. Or I often go to Denden Town with a list of things I want and I just buy them at the cheapest price because I can't get anything through trades. There's no point in even trying. So if that rule wasn't implemented, then I would definitely be bringing a trade binder and I would definitely be doing what I can to get cards I need without actually having to spend cash. Sometimes I see Japanese people trading, but it's always on the down low. And there's never been any times where two people, especially two people who don't know each other, are looking at each other's binders and pulling out cards. Any trades I've seen have been discussed in advance, usually just friend to friend. But I have heard tales of card stores banning the act of just showing a binder to your friend or even having a binder out. Of course, if you're pulling out cards to buy this to them, the store's not going to complain. But you can also skirt the rule by just going somewhere that doesn't sell cards. So you can go to the local McDonald's and trade there. But in general, the rule is very good at stopping the act of trading. It's also hard to use technicalities to keep yourself from saying, whoa, we weren't trading, because lots of stores, like Amenity Dream, they have this sign here. It says something along the lines of trading and any activity that seems like it could lead into trading or be thought of as trading, including talking about trading, is banned. And the second line reads that exchanging cards for cash is especially bad and you'll get banned from the store. So it's a pretty harsh penalty, but it shows how serious the stores are about not allowing trading in their play areas. I've never seen anyone banned for trading. I've never even seen any person trading or anyone doing anything like that. And I've never seen an employee warn anyone about that sort of thing. Next, about trading at GPs. So at GP Chiba, there were some tables there for free usage, and it was used mostly by people trading. They can't ban people from trading at GPs, but they can ban the use of cash because of the dealers that are there. And there were many what I like to call traveling dealers there with their binders. They're kind of like dealers. They treat the people they trade with like customers, and they kind of give them stuff for buy list prices, the usual. But unlike past GPs I've attended, there were actually multiple security guards roaming the floor. They were making sure that no money was exchanged on the floor, and they also had a job of making sure that people's backpacks were closed, that they were on them at all times, and that things weren't in a spot to be easily taken. Anyways, back to trading. I'm not sure that anyone was able to even trade in the actual hall for money because I never saw it, but I'm sure that people went outside to exchange money. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, to reiterate, GPs don't have a no trading rule. So if you come for your once a year trip and you come to Japan and you really want to trade, then you can definitely trade, but obviously no cash. And one thing that's always been interesting to me about when I trade in Japan is what website to use when determining prices. So the markets are very different between Japan and America. Using TCG pricing can actually be considered unfair to one side of the trade. There's been plenty of times when it's been really difficult to gauge the true value of a card because of the difference in demand and the prices at stores, and then the difference of demand and price in America. So the new Ajani, as an example, is about $10 in the States, but stores are selling him for about the price of a pack. I got mine for 400 yen. It would be unfair for me to say that he's worth $10 when he can be bought for only 4, but it's also unfair to value him at $4 because he's still worth $10 abroad. So that's when there has to be a middle ground. And it would also definitely be unfair to value a 400 yen Ajani as $10 while also valuing a 1400 yen Thoughtseize at $11. Thoughtseize is one of those cards that's always been more expensive in Japan than America. It's never come close to hitting the $10 mark in Japan. So for the same monetary value, I can get more than 3 Ajanis for the price of 1 Thoughtseize in Japan, but by American TCG pricing, they're only $1 apart. So that's why it can really be difficult to decide what measurement and what site to use for trades. The best way to do it might actually just to have each player kind of give a value to their card or to the card that they're trading for. If I say, okay, well, I got this Core Haven for $1, but it's $7 in the States, I think a $5 trade price is fair for it. That might be the best way to actually go about doing it. And I asked a Japanese player what site they use to check prices when they trade, and their answer was the Hareruya website. But to me, this doesn't seem fair because that would be like choosing Star City Games or Card Kingdom or Channel Fireball as a price checking site, when a lot of their prices could just be very different depending on their stock or what's popular there. So because of the lack of one universal price website and price gauge for Japanese cards, so there's no good way to trade here unless both parties are okay with whatever the other party values their cards at too. So that's all I have to say about trading in Japan. So to sum it up, don't trade in stores here. It's not worth it. You can trade outside if there's a casual event, but generally nobody trades in stores here, and you're not even going to get away with trying to hint at trading. People just aren't interested in here. All right, thanks for watching. Please follow me on Twitter at Osaka Legacy Den. Take care, guys.